And it looks like we've started there. Okay, so let's make sure that that's playing. Looks good. What about this one? That one looks good too. Okay, so we are live. Hey everybody. I suppose people will start trickling in a minute. So I have got a call with a recruiter in about 2 hours, just under 2 hours, and it shouldn't take long. So we'll take a quick break when that happens. But I wanted to go ahead and start the live streaming. The thing that I want to look at is a video from what is becoming one of my favorite YouTubers. So this guy, Legendary Drops, really, really like his content. Does a really good take I like his takes on the industry and the way he analyzes things and brings up good points and cite sources and all that stuff. So really, really like it. And along with the Skyrim music video, I'm going to release this. I returned to the games industry after 7 years because I basically took a break from gaming because I had health problems, and I didn't play any games at all. I didn't even look at the media or anything. So I've come back to the gaming industry, and it's interesting what has changed and what has not. Right? It's like there's a couple of really good gems out there, like Baldur's Gate 3, but sadly they're the exception, and there's just something really weird going on in the creative entertainment industries lately. My theory is that you've got there's multiple ones, but for the sake of the essay, you've got 3 points. You got 3 different types of minds. You can be a money mind, you can have passion, or talent and ability. So sadly, the people with all the passion, talent, and ability don't have any money, and the people with the money aren't consulting the people with passion or ability about making the game. They're just dictating what should be made. Based off of like some sort of report or something. There's no art involved here. Not from the decision of making the game. What was the point that I was trying to make? I guess I'm writing an essay too. I don't want it to be overly negative, but at the same time, there's not a lot of great things to say. I really like that Phoebus gave a good example of the former CEO, John Riccitello, from Unity, who was going to charge developers a runtime fee based on the number of installs, and it was going to be retroactive. So if somebody made a game in Unity 10 years ago and somebody installs it, then you owe them money. And the thing is, like, he didn't make this decision in a silo. He and everybody around him, John Riccitello. So there were multiple meetings. People made slide decks. Multiple people were consulted on this. Excuse me. And then it just shows like the huge. There's a huge chasm between their audience and what they're doing. So it's like for a company to make such a bad decision, and it really he ended up stepping down. But it just goes to show that you got the people with the and then he also said only idiots don't monetize. Riccitello previously said in an interview that developers who don't think about monetization early are fucking idiots. So not only does somebody with the money with the money mind making and dictating the things that should be that the passion and the talent and ability should be spent on, he's openly scoffing at people that don't have his mental mind type. Right now, I can see why, because the people put a lot of stuff on money. If you make a lot of money, you had to have been successful somehow, right? People equate money with success. And the people that are really good with money, unfortunately, look down on the people who are not really good with money. Now, the answer here is to get good with money. If you have a bunch of talent and passion, you should be getting good with money, so you don't have people dictate to you what needs to be done. And what I want to do is try to have an essay that kind of goes over these points. And then it goes over these points, and then the answer is clearly, get better at running a business and thinking about money, and the people with the money should like back off a little bit. A perfect example for when this is all in balance, Baldur's Gate 3. They got out of the way of the creative people's way and let them make a game. Anyway, so we're going to... I gotta eat too. So, here, let me pause this. Okay, we're gonna check out this guy's video. It's on Baldur's Gate 3, and I want to find. It looks like he dropped all the time code, so he didn't link any articles, sadly, so we might have to search for them.
Seen so many people.
Before we do that, I do want to read through. I stepped away from gaming for almost 7 years, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. Health issues pulled me out of the world I loved, out of the immersive stories, the breathtaking art, the escape that once gave me, and now I've come back. Okay, and then something, this is a good hook. Something feels off. The games are bigger, not better, flashier, but emptier. It's like walking through a beautiful museum, hollow statues, all spectacle and no soul. Need to add a section here about levels of money now involved. Okay, and this is where we've got the graph. And let's find out real quick. When did the video game industry surpass the film industry in revenue? In 2013, games were more than double the revenue of the global film industry. The global gaming industry is generated over 159 billion compared to around 100 billion for the film industry. Today, video game industry earns more than the film and North American sports industries combined, driven by mobile game and digital distribution and in-game purchases. Okay. All right, let's add this part. Give me, well, let's leave it for a minute. So what I'm doing is I'm just going through this essay real quick because I'm gonna listen. We're gonna listen to his video essay, and I'm gonna incorporate some of the stuff. Like I'm refining this. So we talk about. Okay, yeah. So the point of going into when this happens is to talk about when things changed. In my opinion, things changed when the gaming industry. Give me sources. In my opinion, the games industry changed when they really surpassed Hollywood in revenue, because then people that are really good with money started getting involved. As like a business thing. They didn't get into it to make games. They got into it to make money. See, there's a difference there. I guess this guy can't find any sources. He can't search the web. Error while searching. Yeah, I'll say. Okay, I guess it's broken. Oh, I guess we'll get sources later. Okay. Hey, Swanty, it's good to see you. Um, I saw your. Oh, that wasn't your comment. That was somebody else's comment. Somebody suggested. I think was it you? Somebody suggested I do like a project management tools video. So I think we're gonna do that. I'll do a project management tools video. How I stay organized, basically, and I can talk about the different projects that I'm working on. So what I'm doing real quick is I'm refreshing my. Oh, here's the agenda. We're writing and updating this video essay, and then in about an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half, I have a call with the recruiter. It shouldn't take long, 30 minutes tops. So we'll just put on some ambient music and I'll take the call. I got to mute the mic, of course. And then once that's over, then we'll probably go back into Unreal Engine and work on that importing stuff. But for now, I want to spend some more time on this essay, and this is the essay that's going to go out with the Skyrim music video, because if the Skyrim music video is as good as I hope it is, it'll get a lot of eyes and people on my channel. So I want to release this at the same time so it gets all the views too. And it'll show versatility. It'll show, hey, this guy makes music videos, but he also does video essays. Okay, you got it, Swanty. I will start working on something like that. Because yeah, I'd like to have a video like that out, because at the end of this essay, I'm going to talk about the game I'm developing, and I'm actually kind of proposing a new way, a very much more communicative way, a very, very open and transparent way of game development. So, game development industry mind triangle. Okay. To explain what happened, I want to introduce 3 main points: money, passion, talent. These are the forces at play in the creative industry, but in gaming today, only one of them is calling the shots. Unity pricing, clips, headlines about monetization. Money makes the decisions. Passion and talent, they're just along for the ride if they're even invited. This is the same disease that has infected Hollywood: reboots, remakes, and recycled IPs. Okay, so I feel like... Okay. We need to describe... Oh yeah, no, I love Confluence. It's like I've got, yeah. What I like about it is there's multiple spaces. So I've got this one, which is my Unreal Engine game dev, but then I've also got one for the video production company itself. This is probably just a default one, and then there's one for the Star Wars project, and I've got one for world building for my IP. For my own little setting. The money is dominating. Okay, so I think it's important to... Industry mind triangle. Okay. I feel like I need to call out... Hey, Flame Age, welcome. I want to get this video essay a little further along, because it's the one that's going to go out along with the Skyrim music video. And we're going to watch legendary drops. This guy, he's got like a video essay on Baldur's Gate 3 and how the industry is responding to it. And I'm super interested in it, so we might incorporate some of the stuff into this essay. And right now, I'm just reading through it so I can get... I can make sure everything in my mind in the essay is fresh, and then I got a recruiter call coming up in an hour and a half, but it shouldn't take long. So we're just going along with the job search. We'll find me some sort of gig. I'll start making some bank again. and then that'll fund this operation. And then one day, years from now, when I have enough supporters on Patreon or websites working and pulling in a decent wage, then I do this full time. But until then, we got to find another job. So what I want to do here is, call out. Need to call out and describe various profiles. What the money mind thinks about things compared to the people with passion and talent. Okay, so the money's dominating. Case study, Fallout 4. Fallout 4 shipped with a fully operational store, but broken AI, immersion-shattering bugs, and some of the flattest quest design in the series. Why? Because the minimum viable product wasn't defined by developers or artists or players. It was defined by people with no passion and no skill for making games, only monetizing them. Oh, it looks like I had it. I don't think this needs to be provided after you define industry terms like minimum viable product and requirements. Okay. Okay. In both video game and film industries, I've noticed a recurring pattern of poor decision making at the executive level. Decisions that seem completely disconnected from the creative communities they serve. To explain this, I use a concept I call the mind triangle. The mind triangle is made up of 3 points: money, passion, talent, and ability. Money is for people who are skilled in finance, business, and operations. Passion, people driven by love of the art and the medium. And talent, ability, people who are technical and have the creative skills to execute a vision. For a successful project, these 3 elements must be balanced, but too often we see the triangle dominated by the money corner, by executives and financiers who, while smart and capable in their domain, lack understanding or appreciation of the creative process. Worse, they sometimes openly mock or dismiss those in the passion and talent corners, treating their insights as emotional or irrelevant. The unity debacle. Okay. I think we're going to rewrite this part, the bigger picture. Okay, so we do that. And then we got to talk about the media, and I think the media is just we can the games journalists are basically being used to collude on price fixing in the industry. Oblivion remastered. Now is the Oblivion remaster? Oblivion. Okay, so it's out now. So they remastered it. Okay, well, it looks like Tamriel.
87 years ago.
Which engine?
But for all these years, I've never been the ruler of my own dreams. This is the 27th of Last Seed, the year of Akatosh 433. King I may. This is only the beginning.
The time of cleansing draws nigh.
Who now will save us? Die! Here you must find your own path.
Well, it looks good.
And close shut the jaws of oblivion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, like Bethesda hires like Patrick Stewart to do the voice acting of the Emperor, and they kill him off in the first 5 minutes. Like, Patrick Stewart's character dies in Oblivion before you get control of your character. And then but they got Liam Neeson to do Fallout, and they didn't really utilize him very well, if you ask me. He just created a couple of tapes and then a couple of lines of dialogue at the end. Really underutilized. I think the best celebrity, is the best usage of a celebrity so far, in my opinion, has been like Cyberpunk. They did a good job of getting Keanu Reeves in there. Of course, they, instead of paying Keanu Reeves a few $1 million for that work, they could have done something. They could have made like different gameplay for the hacking, and instead of having a number puzzle. So I guess the reason the hacking in Cyberpunk 2077 is a number puzzle is because the studio was just like, we'll get Keanu Reeves. Everybody like it because of Keanu Reeves. Gameplay, we'll just give him a number puzzle. All right, well, so MVP and requirements. I'm gonna have to rewrite all of this. Section why Fallout 4 failed as an MVP. Okay. What is a minimum viable product? Playable, stable version of the game. A core gameplay loop that's fun, engaging, motivating. Good MVP, bad MVP. Fallout 4 is corporate. MVP failure. Okay. What are requirements in development? Okay. It's happened because the wrong people wrote the requirements. Instead of create a game that is immersive and redefines RPG storytelling, they wrote ensure monetization is live at launch and integrated into the core UI. This is the money mined from your triangle running the show with no passion or talent guiding what should matter. What are requirements? In development, requirements define what the product must do, what features must exist, how the product should perform. They're supposed to be written by product owners, designers, dev leads, people with domain knowledge and vision. But in today's industry, requirements are increasingly written by shareholders, executives, marketing teams, monetization specialists. They are people who have no skin in the game, just money in the pot. Result, games launch as broken services with working stores instead of working games with passion behind them. Yeah, that actually reads really good. So the requirements as they were, in-game store, operational, paid mods, architecture, pre-order incentives tied to DLC, minimal testing before launch. I guess we can come up with something else besides that one. Core gameplay loop, polished, compelling opening quest, bug-free exploitation mechanics, robust gameplay, and dialogue. Yeah, that's what the minimum viable product requirements should have been, but it was not. Fallout 4 is a perfect example of what happens when the people writing the requirements don't care about the game. They care about the launch window. They care about DLC. They care about microtransactions. They care about the fucking store. The store worked, but your Pip-Boy froze. The monetization page loaded smoothly, but Preston Garvey sent you to another settlement while standing on the ceiling. The suits wrote the requirements, and the developers, the artists, and designers, they had to follow orders. Passion doesn't matter if the budget says build the store first. That actually reads really well. Okay, and then this is where I get into the lack of innovation. Okay, all right, now we're gonna, because the lack of innovation. I've seen like the first 10 minutes of this on my phone, but I was like, let me actually load this up because he's making a bunch of good points that I'm going to incorporate in the essay. So we're just going to watch it again from the top, and I will pause and take notes or leave comments.
Afraid of a game or so detached from reality. You know what players love? They love it when a game developer tells them that their favorite game, one of the most popular and successful and beloved games in the past decade, isn't going to have any impact on how games are made. Just because you like it doesn't mean we're going to learn anything from it. Why would we do that? That makes too much sense. I've always viewed Baldur's Gate 3 as a cultural turning point. It was a game that was so far a cut above the rest. It was so fair to the players. It was so jam-packed full of value that by contrast, it just made the rest of the industry look goofy. Players are looking at some of these other games and saying, what are you guys doing over here? I think it showed a lot of people, it opened their eyes to what a AAA game should be, what their money is actually worth, and it reminded them what it feels like to be the priority when a game is made. So imagine my dismay when I find another game developer, a well-known game developer, talking about how Baldur's Gate 3 is an unrealistic standard that the rest of this industry just will not be able to reach. And to be honest, that's actually relatively accurate. But they're trying to set a standard. They're trying to tell us what that standard truly is. Trying to lower our expectations. You know, it's funny. The standard is only unrealistic when it's us that's asking for it. But before that, a word from today's sponsor, Raycon. And I'm going to gush about this for first times and use the air pay back into with video charge on does for it. So I owe a lot to Baldur's Gate 3. If it weren't for Larian Studios and the hundreds of hours I've now spent in their game, I don't think I would have understand what modern games could be, what they should be, how players deserve to be treated, what fairness looks like, how a budget can be used efficiently, how a team can manage itself effectively, and what happens when a studio genuinely understands its audience. In fact, most of the commentary and critique that I've done on this channel started with a video called Baldur's Gate 3 is a wake-up call. That's now over a year ago. Don't go and watch it or anything. I was incredibly dramatic, and I didn't have a beard at the time, but
we're gonna do it. This one. This is what he's talking about. Oh, he doesn't have a beard.
I believe that we are
Oh. Well, Flame Mage, I can actually explain this. So, give me a sec. So, in Dungeons and Dragons, the wizards, the way some spells work, because not all the casters use the same techniques, but for most magic in Dungeons and Dragons, the reason that you have to study, wizards have to study and memorize the spell. And then the story basically goes, when they cast it, they forget it. So they have to go back and re-memorize it. So that's why, like, you can cast the spell that you took, an hour and a half studying to memorize it, but then after you cast it, you got to learn it over again. Here, let's see. Okay. Hey, Noob Fever. Let me get explain the differences in how magic is cast in D&D between a wizard and a warlock and a sorcerer. Sorcerer. Yeah. So the wizard, the source of magic. Magic is learned through the study and intellect. Wizards spend years poring over ancient tomes and arcane formulas. Their power is external, drawn from the written knowledge and disciplined understanding of the laws. Sorcerer, magic is innate. Sorcerers are born with magical potential, perhaps due to draconic bloodline, a celestial ancestor, or exposure to raw magical energy. Their powers come from within, often fueled by emotion or instinct rather than study. So the wizard prepares a specific list of spells each day from their spell book, must choose in advance which spells they will be able to cast, has access to a wider library of spells over time. Sorcerers know a limited number of spells permanently. They don't need to prepare, can cast any known spell at any time as long as their spell slots are available. Trades breadth for flexibility. Okay.
Being misled, misdirect.
Okay, so this is I guess we should finish watching this and then we can check this out. Want to see how it did? Yeah, it's got over 250,000 views. So this article is right. AAA studios can't be expected to be held to the same standards as smaller studios like Larian. They should be held to a much higher standard. Hey, Bali. Welcome to the stream. All right, so we're going through this video, and we might incorporate some of the stuff into our essay.
It was the first moment that I had realized just how far gone this industry was, and it was the first time that I found my voice as a creator. Now, the video that I had made was focused on a piece from GameDeveloper.com titled "Yelling is Not Journalism," and it was a plea for empathy after pushback from a series of viral tweets where indie developers were asking players not to compare their game to Baldur's Gate 3, which on its own was a pretty harmless request. Nobody's out here screaming, "Why can't Schedule 1 let me romance Brad like Baldur's Gate 3 lets me romance a bear?" That was never the issue. The issue was who responded to those tweets. Senior level AAA developers, producers, directors chiming in to say the exact same thing, that Baldur's Gate 3 was an impossible standard, that it's unfair to compare other games to it, which in hindsight was basically a soft confession, because some of those developers, like Josh Sawyer of Obsidian and Chris Balzer of Blizzard, would then go on to release games like Avowed, which in hindsight was basically a soft confession, because some of those developers, like Josh Sawyer.
Okay. So this is in a thread talking about don't compare games to Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is just so amazing. Great thread. That we could never, it's funny, like instead of like rising to the challenge, instead of going, wow, they did an amazing job, let's try and do better, right? They do shit like this. Right? I mean, that's the attitude. Let's get the people in our games journal. Let's get our game journalist friends to attack the players and completely miss the point, and just say that there's a bunch of harassment, and as if somebody getting harassed on the internet invalidates the subject matter of the argument or debate that is happening. They always throw that in there. I started noticing it back in like the late 2000s, and now it's like in every damn article. So it was back with like Anita Sarkeesian and stuff like that. Oh, she was harassed. She needs a security detail, and she fears for her life, and blah 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 blah. So this guy Josh Short, he must be some sort of developer. Probably for like Blizzard. I think this guy said, so great thread. The conditions under which Baldur's Gate 3 was made are atypical. There is no way a slight against the game or the people working on it who are clearly passionate and talented. Having the foundation set and the funding to build things on your own terms is invaluable. Like a lot of people, I'm deeply excited about what the folks at Larian accomplished, but I want to give preemptive push back against players taking that excitement and using it to apply criticisms or a raised standard to RPGs going forward. Yeah, that just blows my mind. Yeah, that I am beside myself on that. Instead of acknowledging, he's saying like, it shouldn't raise the standard. It's like, oh, okay, so you're just admitting that everything you're going to produce from now on is going to fall short of the type of quality and polish and value in Baldur's Gate 3. You're just telling us that you're not going to do that. Oh, we're going to get to the animations after after my call with the recruiters. So we'll dive into Unreal Engine, and we got like halfway through the tutorial. We've got, in fact, it's up right here. So we're at 5 minutes and 33 seconds because these are all my notes, right? So we're going to continue after the recruiter call, which is a little over an hour and a half. Okay. Piece of cat hair. Okay. Okay, so let's save this. Desktop, Nexius, video projects. It's this one. Sky 2. Yep, there's my mind triangle. Okay. Hey, our priest, welcome to the stream again. It's good seeing y'all. Let me Flame Mage, Yar Priest, Noob Fever, Swanty. Okay. I wanted to kudos. Okay, next video I put out, I want to give kudos because y'all are awesome. Just wanted to write down everybody's name that's been here. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is the job that I'm hoping to get. The senior project manager consultant, making around $60 an hour. So yeah, if I get this gig, I'm going to be able to afford things. I'm going to be able to get like a 3D printer. Yeah, I'll be able to buy cameras and all different kinds of stuff. So, okay, the day's going good, Yar Priest. We're just, I feel, I just feel like we need to get this essay a little further along. And this guy is given some great info, and I like to follow the industry too. So like I'm a huge nerd when it comes to the business and the studios and the pressures that are exerted on those businesses and stuff. And it's just like, this is the equivalent right here. This is the equivalent of a movie studio releasing a movie that's like Star Wars. And everybody goes and sees it, and then this is like other filmmakers going, you shouldn't expect, we can't do that, basically. And it's just basically an admission. It's like we cannot deliver that level of value. That's a way to put it. It is an admission. Let's put it down here. It is an admission that the product they are delivering will fall short of the quality / value of Baldur's Gate 3. Of products like Baldur's Gate 3. Oh, yeah. And I think for this essay, I should call... Yeah, let's just put that in big bold. For this essay, don't call them games. Call them entertainment products or products. You see, because it changes a little bit, right? It changes when you don't say video game. So it's like a if I say you shouldn't expect that type of you shouldn't expect us to make that type of quality game, right? Or that, and then, but if you say like you shouldn't expect us to make that product a quality product, deliver that type of value. It's just so much. It sounds better, and it's just so weird to me that they're like sidestepping here. Let me paste this in the thing. Oh, it's fine.
Of Obsidian and Chris Bales are of Blizzard, but then go on.
Wait.
Because some of those developers, like Josh Sawyer of Obsidian and Chris Bales.
Okay. I guess we will post that thing. So let's go. Upload from computer. Okay, and then let's get the other one. Okay, this says you're absolutely right. Even if you look at one of Vinky's touchstones, Ultima 7, that's a game that had 12 years of prior games feeding into it. If we were to look at this as a new benchmark, we would need to then focus on creating conditions. Just like with... What is TOTK? Tears of the Kingdom Zelda, I think. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad you knew that. I was gonna have to look it up. Alright, save. This is this is just it seems like you're just making excuses. They released an awesome product, and now you guys are saying that you can't release a product of equal value. That's the way to say it. Yeah, it's a way of saying you cannot produce a product of equivalent value, to say nothing of exceeding, it in value. Okay, and what's value? The time that you're playing, like you're spending time on the video game, so the value that you should be getting out of it is entertainment. Yeah, when I say value for video games, it means entertainment, and Okay, when I say value for video games, it means entertainment time. If you are sitting in front of a computer and you're playing a game, do you keep playing it if you're not having fun? Okay. All right, I will develop that thought further. I'm just getting the notes here. This is really good though. It is a way of saying you cannot produce a product of equivalent value, to say nothing of exceeding it. Okay. It's more succinct this way. Yeah, this is very succinct. Quality time spent enjoying, not just time in game. Yeah. Quality equals time spent enjoying the game, not playing. Okay. All right, that's really good, Swansea. We're gonna expand on that. We're gonna rewrite this essay. But we're getting good stuff.
Of Blizzard, but then go on to release games like Avowed or Diablo 4. After seeing those games, I get why they don't want to make the comparison. The article itself tried to explain why we get broken, unfinished games, why DLC...
Wait. Which article?
Baldur's Gate 3 was an impossible standard. Chiming in, who responded to those three, Let's Me Romance a Bear, that was delayed. Gate 3 was an producers, directors chiming in to say the exact same thing, that Baldur's Gate 3 was an impossible standard, that it's unfair to compare other games to it, which in hindsight was basically a soft confession, because some of those developers, like Josh Sawyer of Obsidian and Chris Balzer of Blizzard, would then go on to release games like Avowed or Diablo 4. After seeing those games, I get why they don't want to make the comparison. The article itself tried to explain why we get broken, unfinished games, why DLC and microtransactions are necessary for them to finish them.
All right, let's just do this because he didn't. You know, I'm gonna put like freaking sources in my video. Like, it drives me fucking nuts. Okay, did he, like, I feel like he mentioned an article. Let's go back. Oh, there it is. I saw
Just
it.
how far gone this industry was, and it was the first time that I found my voice as a creator. Now, the video that I had made was focused on a piece from GameDeveloper.com titled Yelling...
GameDeveloper.com. Yelling is not journalism. Is that it? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Yelling is not journalism. There was an opportunity to give players context for why games release the way they do, but instead it was designed to incite anger directed at a few devs. Okay, well, already off the out of the bat, the story is talking about the fringe jerk offs that are on the internet that send nasty messages. Like, okay, that happens. It happens to everybody. Everybody gets nasty messages on the internet. So we don't need to bring it up anymore. But what about, so there are people that are being nasty, right? And then there's people that are making valid, honest, critiques in good faith. Okay. So let us just now discuss the people who are making critiques in good faith. We don't need to talk about the assholes that are sending death threats anymore. We don't need to bring it up. Okay. It's background noise. But it always takes precedent right here. Oh, some people were mean to me on Twitter. Like, get the fuck out of here. Okay, yelling is not journalism. IGN just released a video called Baldur's Gate 3 is causing some developers to panic. You can watch it here if you haven't. The video has gotten a lot of game developers upset and has gotten a lot of gamers up in arms. The crux of the video is a negative reaction to a series of tweets by Xalavier Nelson Jr., what a name, talking about how Baldur's Gate 3 isn't a reasonable bar for most RPGs going forward. Okay. I decided to comment on this as a former journalist myself, and a few. Brandon Sherfield, contributor. Okay. Former journalist. You're still writing articles. I guess you are one. I decided to comment as a former journalist myself after a few people told me that the video raises a good point. I will say that no point is raised in this video. The video instead asks a rhetorical question that has been posed ad nauseum since the advert of DLC. Why can't AAA games come out with perfect polish from day one? If it were me and I worked as a journalist, it's funny. Back in the pre-bandwidth, when it made more sense to put the 600 megabytes on a disk and carry it around with you instead of sending it over the 56K modem, right? Before you could send things out over the internet and updates and stuff, you had to ship an actual game that worked. It was in a box, right? And you took the box and it had a complete product in it. You put it in and your computer didn't even connect to the internet back then, right? It was just a computer that you use for a word processor, and you put it and you play the game. You put it in, you install it, and you play the game, and it worked. You didn't have to go online and download a patch. So I don't want to hear it can't be done. Okay, we got an hour. I got 55 minutes till I chat with the recruiters. Okay. Oh, that's awesome, Flame Mage. I would at one of the high schools that I went to, I was in the technology group or whatever, and all I did was just give them free tech support. I was learning stuff, but I was just fixing broken computers. And one of the teachers, the teacher that ran the thing, he really liked me because I knew where to go download stuff like that. And he let me use the school's T1 connection. He even brought this computer in. And so I would download the movies and stuff. and then we had one of those things that would cast to the VCR, and we would actually make tapes of the thing that we downloaded. Oh my God, the quality. It was crazy. But this teacher, he would have parties at his house, and he would have people come over and watch the movies that are still in the theater. That was his shtick. Okay, if it were me and I worked as a journalist and I had a question, and that question had been asked by players consistently since the advert of DLC, I would attempt to do some journalism to find out the answer. Why can't they do this? If the same question has been floating out there for nearly 20 years, clearly it's not an easy answer if it has been around for such a long time. Instead of talking to people and attempting to answer that question, okay, so you're just attacking IGN now. What are you fucking trying to say? Multiple times admitting that he doesn't know anything about the subject, but is simply angry. This is not okay, blah, blah, blah. Give a good content. It's likewise irresponsible to say that Xavier's tweets go on to give a good context, but then not share what that context is or attempt to understand it. Using angry gamer language. Well, it in the previous paragraph, you're talking about angry journalist language. So we still haven't, we're this far into it, and we still actually aren't talking. We're just talking about people being shitty to each other. We still haven't gotten to the crux of the issue. Using angry gamer language when no research has been done is admitted by the videographer, along with naming a bunch of game devs and showing their tweets, invites angry fans to go harass them, which is, of course, what is happening. The devs, so that aside, but back to the content of the video. While developers Larian, Nintendo, FromSoft can release something so polished while others can't, but makes no effort to find out the answer. So let's get into it. All right, well, yeah, you spent a long time getting there, buddy. Using angry gamer language when no research has been done, as admitted by the videographer, along with naming a bunch of game devs and showing their tweets, invites angry, okay, blah, blah, blah. This reminds me of devs in 2014, and naturally we not like it. But back to the content of the video. Legrain, I guess that's how you say it. Legrain asks why developers like Larian, that's pronounced Larian, Nintendo and FromSoft can release something so polished while others can't. So let's get into it. The abstract. Here's a big part. Games are released in imperfect states because the devs either run out of money or the shareholders of their parent company mandate that a game must come out in a certain window. Okay, which devs have no control over. They run out of money trying to make the best game possible in the least amount of time. Devs rarely control their own budget, and they are trying to make as much cool stuff as they can with the time they are allotted. Okay. In short, for one reason or other, they are often forced to start selling the game in order to pay for the completion of the game. This has been done through DLC patches, early access, and yes, even microtransactions. That's how Warframe got started. So I don't see anything wrong here because of raising expectations of AAA, and because big studios are. What I do have a problem with is, saying the game is completed and just releasing it and then collecting the money and patching and fix it. No, but just fucking say the game isn't finished yet, and you need to release it to make some money and to keep the lights on to finish the damn game. What would be wrong with that? Why is that so hard? Wait. And because big studios are beholden to financial year results and reporting to their investors, devs burn through their life force trying to make this happen, and it's upsetting to see these brought up with absolute curiosity. Okay, so and because big studios are beholden to financial year results and reporting to their investors. So, here we go again. This is the money mind dictating when a game should be released, right? Yeah, brevity, please. Baldur's Gate 3, which he says launched in a polished state, actually launched in early access, which he mentions, but doesn't question in any way. The game was in early access for 3 years. Yeah, getting polished, bug fixes as it went. 3 years. Now, someone who spends the majority of his video complaining about people selling unfinished products, why does this not upset him? They sold the game for 3 years at $60 while it was unpolished and unfinished. Anyone could buy it. The company was able to ship the final non-early access game in a more polished state because the game was sold for 3 years at full price in an unfinished state. So the entire premise of the video here, the Baldur's Gate 3 launched perfectly and polished, isn't even correct. No, that's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit right there. They said it was early access. They were upfront. They said the game isn't finished yet. We're charging full price because we need to complete it. We got to keep the lights on. We'll release the game when it's ready, and they did. This is a fucking flat out lie. This is so wrong. To talk about this and talk about how he's completely got it twisted around. It's like Baldur's Gate 3 is the formula you follow, right? It was successful. The people, and you charge people $60 because, and you charge them full price because you don't want to charge like $2 or $3, and then you got to deal with fucking trolls, right? It's a lot. People are less likely to troll and be a douchebag if they've already given you $60 for something. Oh my God. So the entire premise of our video here, that Baldur's Gate 3 launched perfectly polished, isn't even correct. Oh my fucking God. Tears of Kingdom. Why was this so polished? Because Nintendo has literal billions of dollars in cash reserves. They can afford to take as long as they want on a game because they have the money to do so. So what stop? There's nothing stopping anybody from following the Baldur's Gate 3 formula. In fact, I want to follow the Baldur's Gate 3 formula. I want to work on my game until it's far enough along where we can actually put it up there on the Steam store, and people can purchase it for early access. And I'm going to be totally upfront about all of the things. Like we can properly communicate the stuff that's being worked on, right? I can give reports to people as if you were a stakeholder at a company meeting. Okay. Okay, because Nintendo has literal billions of dollars in cash reserves. They can afford to take as long as they want on a game because they have the money to do so. Okay. They don't have to sell the game right now to make money for development. They already have money and can afford a longer development cycle. And since they also sell hardware, they know their games must be able to sell more Switches. That is why, despite having a lot of money and time, they still crunch massively while doing this. FromSoft, their past success has led them to be given a blank check and a ready when it's ready attitude. Most studios are not given the sort of timelines, and this only comes after multiple massive successes. Okay, so I think we despite everything this person has said, we have once again come down to the problem. So the problem in the industry is basically the folks with the money are, choosing to have a product developed, and when that product takes longer to develop than they had planned, which it always does, they're releasing it as if it was a finished thing, or worse yet, stuff that would have been in the game at launch gets turned into a DLC, right? Okay. Yeah, and I think in the name of transparency, you just got to plan this stuff correctly and ethically. Okay, the problem with IGN's videos, it's pure sensationalism. It poses itself as just asking questions when if you actually ask the questions of the right people or even thought about the question, that you could actually get answers. The point from do not look for quality journalism from IGN, bro. Like you're Your water is wet. you're drowning in a glass of water here, worried about what IGN posts. The point from Xavier is not that gamers should lower their standards. The point is that to think of Baldur's Gate 3 as an immaculate polished release out of the gate is incorrect. And if you held other... No, that's such bullshit. It was in early access. What is... Hold on. Let's find an early access game. I bet there'd be one up here. Maybe that one? No, that's not early access. Is there early access there? Right there. Okay. The Spell Brigade, early access. Early access game. So this is the message that was on Baldur's Gate 3, the Baldur's Gate 3 store page, right? So this is the message. Get instant access and start playing. Get involved with the game as it develops. Note, games in early access are not complete and may or may not change further. So this motherfucker, this is so wrong. I'm just beside myself. Who the fuck is this guy? Talk about willfully missing the fucking point. Like he's trying to make it. So instead of like actually, he's still in a very underhand, backhanded way dissing Baldur's Gate 3. He's still trying to lower this whole article is meant to lower expectations. Who is writer, okay. Video game director. As the director of Necrosoft Game Share, has created various games for PlayStation Mobile. Okay. After going through a breakup in 2014, Sheriff worked together with... Okay. Okay, well, you're an indie game dev. Got it. After all, Baldur's Gate 3 took years from early access launch at $60 to where it releases in a polished state. But put simply, other games cannot be held to that standard because that standard is illusory. Well, what's the standard that you... Like, I fail to see the problem here. Like, the things in early access, they told you it was in early access. You got to talk to the developers, and the developers took your feedback and put the feedback into the game to polish it up. And then after doing that for 3 years, they finally thought they had a finished product, and then they released it. Okay. And then I know Steam's like cracked down on some like perpetually in early access things. I mean, like I get the negative side of this. I'm not blind to it. I've been burned by early access games. There was a game that like I was really looking forward to. It was going to be a third person fantasy RTS, and then like 2 years later, I load the game up to check it out, and they've turned it into like a hex grid tabletop 4X game. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Flame Mage. Like, there's nothing. And here's the other problem. The whole tone of this article is people are mean to each other and you don't understand, right? Instead of using Baldur's Gate 3 as the model moving forward, it's like, look what Baldur's Gate 3 did. It worked. So why? That's the biggest thing that blows my mind. They saw what Baldur's Gate 3 did, and then they're just like, well, we can't do that. Why the fuck can't you? Give me a brief overview with a bulleted list of the things Steam has updated about early access games. Okay, they've implemented several updates to early access to enhance transparency and protect consumers. Inactivity warnings. Steam now displays warnings on early access pages if the game hasn't been updated for an extended period, helping users identify potentially abandoned projects. Okay, well, that's great. Developer guidelines. 2014 update. Valve updated its early access rules to ensure developers release games in a playable alpha or beta state, clearly communicate the expected final product, demonstrate commitment and financial stability to complete development. Okay. Consumer awareness. These measures aim to inform customers about the development status of early access games, reducing the risk of investing in unfinished or unsupported titles. Okay. I think it just like he said it's all right here. It's the formula for success is in this paragraph. The point is that to think of Baldur's Gate 3 as an immaculate, polished release out of the gate is incorrect, which we've already established is wrong, right? But if you held other games to that standard, it would make no sense. After all, Baldur's Gate 3 took 3 years from early access to launch at $60. So why don't people follow this formula? Now, not everybody. They got a few things. Like they had like the Baldur's Gate name. Okay, it was Larian Studios. Everybody knows that's a great company. They made Pillars of Eternity, right? They made what was the Divinity Original Sin or something like that too, I think. So like I get that, not everybody can put an early access game out there and command $60 for it, right? But there's certainly the formula for success is, do the early access and then actually do what you're supposed to and interact with the community and make updates, and then eventually you'll release the thing. So I don't know. Here, I'm going to copy this and we'll use it. Okay. In fact, the media. Okay. Here is an example of the media. And at the end of the day, he's still saying not to expect that type of stuff from Baldur's Gate 3 because nobody else can do what Baldur's Gate 3 did. Nobody can go into early access for 3 years and then actually release the game. Here's an example of the media. Still missing the point. They talk about, harassment and tone without getting to the meat of the topic. He the author article claims incorrectly that Baldur's Gate was released so why is it so polished? Baldur's Gate 3, which he says launched in a polished state, actually launched in early access. The game was in early access for 3 years, getting polished and bug fixed as it went. 3 years. Now, someone who spends the majority of videos complaining about selling unfinished products, why does this not upset him? Because this is such bullshit. I am beside myself. They sold the game for 3 years at $60 while it was unpolished and unfinished. Anyone could buy it. Company was able to ship the final non-early access game in a more polished state because the game was sold for 3 years at full price in an unfinished state. So the entire premise of the video here, that Baldur's Gate 3 launched perfectly polished, isn't even correct. That's such bullshit. It is. It was in early access. So let's copy this. After all, Baldur's Gate 3 took 3 years from early access, where it releases in a polished state. Put simply, other games cannot be held to that standard because that standard is illusory. So it's still lower your expectations, people. It's still lower your expectations. The article claims incorrectly that Baldur's Gate 3 was let's just back up. Okay. Yeah, this thing is going to go in this part's going to go in the article with the media. Yeah. Selling unfinished as finished versus selling unfinished as early access status. Yeah, that's the thing here. Article incorrectly claims. Okay, well, fuck it. I'll just there's a lot going on in my mind right now. Let me just. Okay, we got this. Okay. Let's finish the video.
Is not journalism, and it was a plea for.
And this is why we were going through the videos, because I wanted to find, what he was quoting, what the sources were. So yelling is not journalism is a great thing. I'm glad we found this article, even though it pissed me off to high heaven. But yeah, it's just.
For empathy after pushback from a series of viral tweets where indie developers were asking players not to compare their game to Baldur's Gate 3, which on its own was a pretty harmless request. Nobody's out here screaming, why can't Schedule 1 let me romance Brad like Baldur's Gate 3 lets me romance a bear? That was never the issue. The issue was who responded to those tweets. Senior level AAA developers, producers, directors trying that it's broken, unfinished games, why DLC and microtransactions are necessary for them to finish them, why you, the paying customer, should feel empathy for these studios when you don't get what you paid for, as if being ripped off is just a part of the process and understanding it is somehow going to make it okay. It was without question one of the most tone-deaf attempts at gaslighting and damage control that I've seen from both the media and game developers, and it was all sparked by how popular Baldur's Gate 3 became. Despite launching right next to Starfield, it completely eclipsed it. It peaked over 875,000 concurrent players on Steam and sold 15 million copies in its first year, a global phenomenon that no one, except the people that were playing it in early access, like myself, could see coming. What no one could have predicted, though, is how long that momentum would last. Baldur's Gate 3's probably sold over 20 million copies by now. It's still at the center of almost every conversation about games, and somehow, nearly 2 years after release, it's still averaging over 100,000 players on Steam as a single-player game. That number just spiked again with the release of Patch 8. When a game has that kind of staying power, that kind of cultural significance, it makes perfect sense why developers feel threatened. And of course, they're doing what they always do when something makes them look bad.
You know, that's the other thing. Like, developers feel threatened, right? Why not inspired? You know? Why not impressed?
Bad, downplay it, deflect, and gaslight players into thinking that it was never realistic to begin with. I came across an article from PC Gamer titled "Former BioWare Producer Says Baldur's Gate 3."
Let's find this one. Former BioWare producer says Baldur's Gate 3's impact on game dev will be somewhat muted. Oh, PC Gamer. Why am I not surprised? Okay. Thanks to industry convention, and I can't help think we've got it all backwards. Okay. A perfect storm of factors working together to make this game work. Okay. But it's like the crux to the issue still seems like the people with the money are the reason that the people with the money mind and not any talent or the ability are the reason why this stuff is happening. And like, I get it. The video games are business, but it's wrong. Well, I think the development process itself now with games, it's simply outdated. I mean, we're still using a product development and distribution models from like that they used back in the 60s and the 70s, I guess, is when video games started. Home consoles were a thing. So like there's doing it the way that Baldur's Gate 3 did with the early access is probably the way to go. I think the thing that really sticks the one, I will concede that you would not have been able to command a $60 price tag on your RPG if you didn't have the brand recognition of Baldur's Gate 3, the fact that it's Dungeons and Dragons, and the fact of the studio that's doing it. So there is a good storm that should happen. Right? That should happen. Just feel, oh shit, Larian Studios is working on the next RPG for my favorite thing. Holy crap, right? Oh, it's an early access. Oh, cool. I really want to see this completed. Let me give them some money. Oh, I found a bug. Let me report, then they can actually become part of the creative process. While you're trying to rebrand late stage capitalism. Elaborate on that for me, Phoebus. What? Because I'm doing this video essay, right? So this is the essay that's supposed to go out with the Skyrim music video, and I'm just I've been away from the games industry for 7 years, I come back and I see it in the state that it's in, and like, you know, here we've got someone that is, you know, don't get me started on that article again. Let me read through this one. Baldur's Gate 3 is a singular game, a step up for the CRPG genre, proof that turn-based combat and deep, thoughtful storytelling is still fashionable no matter what some live service brainwormed EA suit might tell you, and likely to be one of the best RPGs that'll arrive this decade. It's so singular, in fact, that there's been an enduring discourse around whether it's raised the bar for the genre. It's raised the bar. Anybody who's saying that the discussion is still happening has like missed the boat. Like, it has raised the bar, and I think that's one of the reasons why people are upset, or at least certain people are upset. But it's like, it blows my mind that, you know, the one company releases a quality product, and then the other company that typically releases similar products says, well, don't expect us to do as good of a job as them. That's what it boils down to. I think, and if that's not what they're trying to say, then they're not doing a good job of saying it. Okay, let's ask Bob. How does late stage capitalism apply to the video game industry? Okay, and when we're done with this, I'm going to pause it real quick. I want to make sure that I can connect to the video conference room. I want to be ready to do that. So, okay. How late stage capitalism applies to the games industry. Games are increasingly designed around monetization first, with mechanics like microtransactions. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I scan with that. You got the people that are writing the requirements for the game are, you know, the requirements are for microtransactions, not for a good gameplay loop, which is missing the point. Pay to win systems, battle passes and FOMO events, gacha mechanics, and mobile AAA hybrid games. These prioritize recurring revenue over fun or balance. Oh yeah, like the pay to win. Exploiting player psychology. Game design often uses behavioral science, fear of missing out, sunk cost fallacy to drive compulsive spending, especially in younger players. Crunch culture and labor exploitation. Developers are often subject to intense overtime and unrealistic deadlines crunch despite record profits. Worker burnout is treated as an acceptable cost of hitting release windows. Yeah, so it's this whole having a hard date for release. I mean, like I know you got to have a goal. You know, I'm not saying that you can't set a release date, but that release date continuously changes, right? Anyway, let's finish reading this. Developers often subject to intense overtime, unrealistic deadlines. Worker burnout is treated. Yeah. So everybody understands crunch and worker burnout. So what can we do? How can we come together as consumers and producers to alleviate the crunch? Yeah, Flameage says, I'm sure devs crunch, but I also have to imagine that there are devs that don't do shit at their jobs and slack off like any other job. Yes, there are those people like that. And if you have effective project managers, they will be able to help find those people that are slacking off. Because like imagine, like if you've got a good project manager, let me show you my... Here, let's just use this. So for example, we work from here and we move over this way. So if you got an idea, you write it. And when the idea is developed, it goes on the backlog. Okay. And what you do is you have meetings, and let's say there's like 5 other people in the meeting. So I'll go, hey, Bob, here, I'm going to click this and I'm going to assign this to you. Let's read it together real quick. Does this make sense? Do you understand the checklist? Does the thing that needs to be done make good for you? You can do this. When do you think it'll have it done by? 2 weeks. Okay, let's set the due date for 2 weeks. And you go through the whole board like that. And then if you do this every 2 weeks for a month, right? And so still hasn't completed the stuff you assigned to them at the beginning of the month, well then it's time to write up a performance. Maybe need to do a little performance plan. Maybe need to maybe we need to see if somebody's needs to go back to training or something, right? So a big thing about this is project management and what is like on the total transparency in regards to development, I guess. Proof that turn-based combat, blah, 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 it's so singular, blah, blah, blah. An executive producer at BioWare until 2020 clearly leans towards the latter. And he explained on his YouTube channel. Oh, wait, don't let me, here, hold on. Here, bear with me. I just want to make sure that my calendar. Okay, so there's the thing. How do I look? Okay, let me actually turn off the webcam. Bear with me, y'all. I'm so sorry for the black screen. Here, let's do that. Okay, so I'm supposed to join Microsoft Teams. Join the meeting now. Continue in this browser. Type your name. Okay, I'm early. It will let us know when the meeting starts. Okay, perfect. So let me mute my microphone over there. Okay, cool. I'm sorry, y'all. I want to be prepared. I want to make sure, like I'm already connected to the web conference, and I am waiting for the other people to join. So I'm 15 minutes early to my meeting with the recruiters, and that makes me feel good. Okay. Baldur's Gate 3 was immensely successful, and it did change the landscape in terms of who was willing to look at an RPG. But I think its impact on the way that games are actually developed is going to be more muted than people who are outside the video game industry might be expecting. Well, yeah, because the underlying issues aren't changing. You've still got there's a massive misalignment between like deadlines and development, and that's, I mean, there's that's nothing new. It's not a new problem, but the new factor is that we have a level of communication that we haven't been able to have before. So we'll see. So Baldur's Gate 3 is mentioned. So like with the internet, we can establish a new kind of development paradigm, I think. But I think its impact on the way that games are actually developed is going to be more muted. I agree, because the underlying issues aren't being adjusted. Dara explains that it's not about time or money, though Baldur's Gate 3 did have both. But rather, he posts that the game was a perfect storm of factors working together to make the game work, some of which are externalities and aren't something that another studio can replicate. Okay, sure. Some factors include working with D&D. Oh, I said that earlier. I said that earlier. Like, it's the Dungeons and Dragons thing, so people are going to, shell out for that, arguably at the peak of its popularity, and its popularity has since declined. Oh, yeah, that's right. When I was in school and I played Dungeons and Dragons, it was not the popular thing to do. But what was that TV show that came out? Stranger Things. Now, you put Dungeons and Dragons in a popular TV show. Now everybody wants to play it, I guess. But also a unique combo of licensing, goodwill, and studio structure that has allowed Larian to go against conventional trends and industry wisdom about RPG. Well, what is the industry wisdom around? Like, I'm more interested in what he thinks is industry wisdom than anything else in this article. What are the conventional trends in industry wisdom about RPGs, Darren? Or whatever this dude's name is, Harvey. Yeah, Harvey. Why don't you explain what the industry, this oh so sage industry wisdom? What is that? Okay. Now, all right. Having an unvoiced protagonist, having cinematics that are simplified in some cases, and so on. Having an unvoiced breathing, I guess. The good thing about an unvoiced protagonist is that you can put whatever words you want and you don't have to record stuff. So I guess that's an advantage. Now, I won't disagree with Dara and say that these things haven't been tremendously unpopular AAA developers, but I've been banging the unvoiced protagonists are better drum since Dragon Age Origins, and I'm feeling a little miffed. I've been plenty immersed in CRPGs such as Pillars of Eternity, where most of the action just happens in a text box. Glossy cinematics and Shepherd-esque heroes are nice, but they also completely overvalued and have been. But they are also completely overvalued and have been since Dragon Age made the jump. I've been banging the unvoiced protagonists are better drum since Dragon Age Origins, and I'm feeling a little bit miffed. Okay, so maybe the video game development industry is wrong about these assumptions about what it can get away with, but to a large degree, when they look at Baldur's Gate 3, what they see is a game that very successfully executes on what it is trying to do, but what it's trying to do isn't something that a lot of other games would be allowed to do. Okay, well, what is that? I think Dara is coming from a case of practical wisdom here, and he is very much correct when he says it will have an impact. It will influence RPGs going forward. I just expect that the influence will be somewhat muted. I think most big studios with execs looming over the development teams foster incredibly punishing environments with little room for agility. Just listening to a writer describe the acrid environment that plagued BioWare before his departure is proof of that. Okay. I mean, I understand, like you say, hey, we're going to build this thing and it'll only take us 2 or 3 days. And then you get like halfway through building it and then realize you got to build something else first that's going to take 10 days. Otherwise it's not going to work correctly, and that's why proper planning and development is a thing. That's why you need to make sure you develop that's why there's all these systems over here. Hey, look, we've got to have like the materials and the objects and the world first. And then in that we can put in the movement system and time and weather and all that other kind of stuff. So, but it's like, I have no idea how long any of these things are going to take. Right. So the crux to the issue is that, you've got the execs and the suits and the people putting up the money and all that kind of stuff are like, hey, we got to get this game out. We got to release the product so we can make our money back. We got to do that, and then these people are pushing back on, well, it's not finished. You didn't give us enough time. Right. So like, that's where it starts out at, right. Is that there's people who put money up for the game, and they're not interested in making a video game. They're interested in making profit, right? So all they care about is that the thing is released and it will sell. They don't really care about how or why it sells. That's why things really changed when the industry's revenue got bigger than Hollywood, because that's when people that are really good with money started getting involved, and people that are really good with money aren't really good at making video games. Okay. Dialect presentable. Yep.
Let me take a quick bio real quick because we got about 9 minutes for my thing. I'll be right back. I just realized I'm going to have to mute. Well, if I mute my mic and then I mute the desktop audio, then y'all won't be able to hear me. Okay, so I just need to mute the mic and turn off the webcam for the duration of the call. Okay. Okay, well, I can do that. And then what are we going to... I mean, I don't want to jinx it. I'll tell you what, guys. No, it should be fine. Okay, if something goes wrong, I might disconnect the live stream just to focus on this meeting thing. But let's see here, Microsoft Team meeting. I'll let you know when the meeting starts. Okay. Should disconnect and focus on that alone. They want that ROI. The show Freaks and Geeks captured it better, except the cool kid doesn't join the game one night. Yeah, I like what you're saying there, Flamage. Sometimes these talk street devs as gods and companies are perfect. Dark patterns. So Phoebus says to ask about dark patterns. Are deceptive design techniques used in websites, apps, or games to trick users into doing things they might not have intended, often for the benefit of the company. Trick questions. Oh yeah, Microsoft is the king of trick questions. Are you sure that you don't not want to upgrade Windows? Are you? And your options are like A, B, and Apple. All right. Tell you what, I'm gonna focus on this recruiter call. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect. So I should be back in about an hour, and then we'll just pick it up. We'll continue on. Yep. So I got the recruiter call in 5 minutes. I appreciate thank you, Phoebus. Thank you, Flame H. Thank you, everybody, for the good look. I'm sure it's gonna do good. It's just to talk with the recruiters, so we haven't even gotten to the part where I'm interviewing for a job. We're at the part where where the recruiters are figuring me out. They're like, okay, we got to meet this guy. We've got his resume. Let's find out what he's like and where we can fit him in, right? So that's where we're at. Yes, Bolly, we're wrapping up for around an hour. I have to talk to some recruiters in about 4 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Thanks, Noob Fever. And when I get done
chatting with them, we'll get back to it. I will start the live stream again, so you can expect that we'll go live with the live stream, within the next within 30 to 90 minutes, basically. I'll be back, and then we'll pick this up. I'm having a good time with y'all. We're making some good headway with this video essay, and it's also helping me develop my thoughts around how we're going to do Project Veilwalker, because I want to, I've got the passion, I really do, and I've got the organizational techniques, and I have technical aptitude. I just don't know how to make things in Unreal Engine yet. So I've got everything but that, which is arguably the most important part. That and money. But that's what this essay is going to be about. Like, hey, come on the journey with me. Here's all the things that are wrong with traditional development and distribution model for video games, and here's a new one. And I'm practicing what I preach. So all right, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'll be back. Thank you for wishing me luck. You folks be safe. Don't do anything I would do. And I'll see you in 30 to 90